Hello guys, new review, new flashlight, Imalent UT90 Predator. Imalent have always created flashlights with the highest wow potential, and they have squeezed all the possible out of the SBT90.2. So I'm sure such an exceptionally bright and long throw LED like this one, like Luminus SBT90.2, is sure to be a lifesaver for the company, and obviously the second savior will be another modern hit, Super Throw LED by Osram, unimaginably tiny and with astonishing long range. I bet that Imalent will release the flashlight with this LED quite soon. Specification is honest, you will see it in the final part of review, and just let's take a closer look at the flashlight. There are some features that I like, some that I totally dislike, and review will include all you need to know about UT90. Let's go. The package is just gorgeous, plastic suitcase, comfortable and good looking, super as a gift, and such a case is way more convenient than a usual cardboard box. Kit includes everything you need. Since flashlight is assumed to be the gun mounted, there is no holster and lanyard. And here is the flashlight itself. In terms of size, this is the same classic 2 battery powered long thrower, despite the clear superiority in size to the popular budget Sufficiency 8G. Imalent UT90 doesn't feel cumbersome or uncomfortable when held. Again, in terms of size, this is a completely ordinary representative of its class of long-range flashlights. The design is simple, but it still shows that it is a branded flashlight. Overall, good design. I can only mention that the build quality of this one is good. This one at least looks and feels like a reliable thing. UT90 has a built-in battery and magnetic charger, and you have to position charger plate correctly or charging will not start. And taken separately, that built-in battery and the native branded magnetic charging are just what I don't like in hand flashlights. I'm okay with built-in batteries in camping lights or headlamps, just because you cannot replace a discharged battery with a fresh one, and if the cable is lost, broken or unavailable, it complicates charging. But when they are combined in one, it's just ay. If there is no cable, then that's it. Consider that you can't use a flashlight. And if the magnetic charging is the same for all models, it simplifies things. It's not that a problem. But UT90 has its own unique cable, and that is uncool for me. Of course, I should mention that magnetic charging has its own advantages like waterproofness and ease of connection. All numerous threads are perfectly lubricated. There are 2 O-rings. The spring at the side of the head is, I guess, used to conduct the signal from tail button, and the current goes through these 4 pins. The head is very large for one battery-powered long-range flashlight and quite common size for a long model, so the size is usual. The cooling fins are rather shallow. They of course could be made deeper, but I don't think that this would have any real effect when cooling such a hot LED as SBT90. The side button and LED indicator are located on opposite sides of the head. The indicator is convex and raised, and the button is flat and flush. The solution is strange since it is definitely more difficult to find a flat button. However, grip is good. The bezel is relatively deep with threads for the included filters, green and red ones. The reflector is what you may expect, smooth and deep with aforementioned SBT90 LED at the bottom, and here actually that's all. The appearance is good. I like the kit, the look, the combination of the side and tail buttons, but I strongly dislike the combination of the built-in battery and the native specific and unique charging cable. User interface is good. There is an instant access to everything you need. I'm used to a different interface, but I'm sure you can do with this one and will get used to it quite quickly. What about the illumination? As mentioned above, SBT90 is a very hot LED, and accordingly you shouldn't expect long runtime in the turbo with such an LED, otherwise it requires flashlight like 3 times more size, and 1 minute that the Imalent UT90 gives you is definitely a good time. And this is actually a decent time for turbo at all, regardless of model and LED. And judging by what the hunters told me, even such a minute runtime in the turbo is excessive. You turn the flashlight for a very short time on hunting, just around 15 seconds. This, by the way, removes the runtime limitations that the built-in battery imposes. The light temperature, as you can see, is not that cold. It is something relatively decent, around 5700 kelvins, and I should mention that judging by other models, LED temperature with SBT90.2 can still vary. On the whole, in terms of light as such, regardless of color temperature, Imalent UT90 performs perfectly. It has outstanding combination of throw and brightness. And here is my overall impression. This impression has changed a lot since the first time I've turned on the flashlight and changed in a good way. So again, as a manufacturer, Imalent has always focused on the wow component of its flashlights and made distinctive models. UT90 Predator is no exception. Two batteries powered format of a search flashlight with the brightest and most long-range LED at the moment. And at the same time, this is a purely gun-mounted flashlight, because usual manual use for non-hunting needs will be extremely limited due to the combination of the built-in battery and the giant gap between low and mid modes, and the absence of holster and lanyard as well. It would be easier for me to understand manufacture if the flashlight had only two modes, like some other modern gun-mounted long-throw flashlights. But Imalent added two more modes here between low turbo. They did good user interface with instant access to low turbo, and then why not take one more step and add a really useful mode of 300-400 lumens, which will not complicate user interface in any way, but will dramatically increase runtime. Because as it is now, the built-in battery limits you to per hours of work. That should be okay for hunting, where you can turn light on for like 10 seconds and then keep it off for half an hour. So a minute of turbo from a cold start will be more than sufficient, and I guess 15 seconds in hot start mode too. And actually I'm not a hunter, so just if you're a hunter, please comment if that runtime is good or not. So that's about the relationship between modes and runtime. If we talk about modes and throw, light as such, and work at different distances, then initially I was quite skeptical. I expected that the medium mode with its 1500 lumens would be excessively bright at medium distances. However, in practice, the situation turned out to be quite surprising. This mode is not absolutely comfortable at the distance of like 50 meters, but it is quite okay without giving a blinding overexposure in the hotspot. And at the distance of like 1 and 2.5 meters, it is totally great light. You can see it right now. At this distance, the flashlight gives you a good detailed illumination, and you can see everything here without any need for high or turbo mode at all. And of course, these two higher modes will give you everything that you expect from such a powerful LED like SBT90.2. There are no questions here. Namely, they illuminate very brightly, and at the same time they have really outstanding throw, even with the filters on. I don't really know if there is any need for hunting light at the distance of over half a kilometer. Nevertheless, I will repeat once again that I would really much like to see a 300-400 lumens mode for comfortable close and mid-range work, and just for increasing runtime to like 4 or 6 hours. This is what would make the flashlight way more comfortable and useful as a handheld flashlight, not only weapon-mounted one. And what about gun-mounted flashlights? As far as I understand, there are simply no other long-range flashlights on the market now that has the same SBT90.2, the most powerful LED with the amusing throw. So this intermediate mode and some kind of standard magnetic charging would make the Imalent UT90 definitely a much more popular flashlight. And now Imalent 90 is only practical in a very narrow application. If we evaluate it exactly as a gun-mounted flashlight, then it showed itself from the best side, at least in terms of light. in terms of throw and brightness, in terms of the kit and runtime in high modes. However, I didn't test it directly in the hand. This is also worth considering. The potential for use as a handheld flashlight is very limited. I've explained you the reasons. And actually, that's all. Just feel free to comment if you like this flashlight or don't like. If you wish to buy this flashlight, check below video and find the best deal. And that's all actually. Feel free to comment, feel free to subscribe my channel if you're not subscribed already. Don't forget to click bell not to miss new review. And of course, I always appreciate if you like my review and share it. Bye!